Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new rankings video. So today we're ranking every single year of Tanki Online, and there's been a lot of years of Tanki Online. The game is over 17 years old now, so yeah, there's definitely a lot of years. Now I started playing in 2011, so I'll cover every year from 2011 through to 2024. I'm skipping 2009 and 2010 since I didn't really play those years, so it would be kind of unfair for me to rank years I never really played because they'd probably go pretty low on the list in terms of my enjoyment just because I never played them. I'm also not going to be ranking 2025 since it's not even over yet, and with Tanki Classic coming out hopefully pretty darn soon or later in 2025, it might change on the rank list depending on how fun that is. So honestly, this list was really tough to put together because Tanki's been around for so long. Remembering details from over a decade ago is really tricky, but luckily I have my complete history of Tanki Online video to kind of jog my memory on a lot of what happened in each year. So this list is my opinion. Your rankings might be different based on your enjoyment or just overall playing throughout the years. But let's dive in and start from the least enjoyable year to the best. Now my least favorite year in Tanki Online, the 14th spot on this list, is going to the year 2020. Now there were definitely some fun parts of this year, like the April Fool's event in 2020 was really good. And honestly, the community was relatively still active back then, whereas now it's pretty darn dead. But there were a few major changes that really took this year down. Now the first thing was Tanki removed the old MO through M3 system, along with the MO through M3 skins. So a lot of the progression turned from like MK1 to MK7, which honestly was not that much fun at all. You also had new hovering holes in Tanki, which started shifting all of the gold events. Although to be fair, they added Hopper Overdrive this year, but it wasn't too bad until 2021. And then also finally, the game shifted from Flash to the HTML version and lost a lot of its charm, and overall was kind of a year of disruptive changes and overall not that much fun. So 13th place goes to 2021. Now this year was kind of known as the Tesla turret year and the Hopper Overdrive year, and it was probably one of my least played years in Tanki Online. This year introduced the very first minigames, which included new skins like Wasp and Firebird Demonic, so you had some really fun parts. You also had a new HD map, which was Sandbox HD, which was also exciting. But in general, I only really played like 2 to 3 times a month and focused on making like ranking videos, which actually did pretty well back in 2021. But the game itself, it was such an annoying year with Hopper Overdrives, and I remember just disliking it so much. So I actually need to correct myself because Halloween wasn't nearly as bad as I remembered it being. But I don't know, something about this year I just didn't really enjoy that much. It could have been the new HTML interface that just really brought a different vibe to the game. But overall, I guess it was a decent event compared to the years later with Hopper Overdrive taking over. So 12th place spot is 2023. Now it mainly goes in this spot because it was just a slow year. This was the year before 2024 where Tanki brought new events every single month. And then with the lack of updates in 2023, it was just like a slow, boring year. You did have some cool new ice skins in the Snow Trap minigame. You had a new hole and some Phoenix augments, but honestly overall, we got like basically nothing this year, and Tanki committed the cardinal sin of being boring this year, so that's why it goes in the 12th spot. So the 11th spot's going to go to 2013. Now, a lot of people would probably put this year in like their favorite year with the rebalance and everything, but I just didn't really play all that much. Honestly, I was more so just playing Black Ops 2 on my Xbox 360, so Tanki took kind of a backseat this year, and I overall just wasn't that interested in 2013. Not to say the year was bad, but my interest in the year was pretty low because I just didn't really play it all, and that's why it's going in the 11th place spot. The 10th place spot is going to 2015. Now, this was kind of the same as 2013. It was a fun year, but I just really didn't play all that much. There's not really much else to say about it. It was a fun year, but again, I just didn't really play all that much, so I can't really put it higher because I don't have enough experiences in this year to put it any higher. So the 9th place spot is going to 2024, which was last year. So honestly, again, this wasn't a bad year. It was just boring again. You did have new events every single month, but the big thing that I disliked about this year was Tanki reduced the new skins from the minigame from 2 to 1. So the minigames just lost most of their interest for me. And then all of the updates for this year focused heavily on just augments. You had some different changes like drones being removed, but honestly overall, the lack of new skins, which became basically the super enjoyment factor for me, just made overall this year just kind of boring. At the end of the year, you had the Tanki Classic news, which was like really hype, and a ton of people came back in that last month of 2024 to see what was going on. And then also we had the Hazel interview in 2024 as well. We had one before that in 2023, which, you know, honestly, October, November, December, always the most fun times in Tanki Online. But if you look at the rest of the year, you usually get a good perspective of what the year was like. And that's why it's going to go in the 9th spot. So the number 8 and 7th spot is going to 2011 and 2012. Now, the main reason it ranks in 7th and 8th place is that I was pretty darn young during this time, so I didn't really play all that much. At this time, my brothers and I were all still sharing one single computer. Now, these were the first years to introduce me to Tanki Online, mainly because they were promoting the game a ton on Miniclip. So my brother found the game first and showed it to me and my twin brother. So we just played it a ton. Unfortunately, we had to share a computer. And I remember sneaking up in the morning to get on my parents' computer when they drove my older brother to school. And that was honestly the main time I was able to play, apart from sharing the computer when I got home from school. But overall, it's definitely a great time. Tanki was just released and you were getting so many new players and so many new updates constantly. But since I was so young, I just didn't play all that much. So 6th place spot goes to 2014. Now this is a solid year, especially for the YouTubing side of Tanki Online. This was probably the year that Tanki Online was at its highest on YouTube. People were getting on average over 100,000 views a video. And overall, if you were a YouTuber during this time, your channel could easily get past like 10, 20,000 subs. And you can see YouTubers like Alpha or CloudyU got close to 100,000 subs. And it was definitely a good year to be a YouTuber. Unfortunately, I didn't start till 2016. If I started like 2 years earlier, I probably would be at like 30 to 40,000 subs compared to what I'm at now. I also got my own laptop this year, so that's one of the main reasons I started playing a lot more, and honestly just made my enjoyment of this year super, super high. So the 5th place spot goes to 2019. So the first 2/3 of 2019 was probably the best Tanki Online I've ever played, and if you just took the first 2/3 of the year, it'd probably be number 1 for me. But the big problem, the big problem was the last third of the year when you had the new updated overdrives and Mammoth Overdrive completely took over the game for like 6 months. But again, this year, uploaded my Pro versus Noob video, which is still the most popular video on my channel and definitely pushed me from like a small Tanki creator to one of the higher viewed Tanki creators. You also had the new Star Pass, which was super fun to grind out back then. I remember just staying up late, getting 2,000 stars, finishing the challenges pass, and it was just so much fun. And overall, this year was good, but yeah, the Mammoth Overdrives and new Overdrives ruined this last third of the year for me. So 4th place is going to the year 2017. Honestly, this year was overall great. You had a bunch of new additions that didn't break the game and were also fun. New alterations that were added. They weren't the OP augments we have now, but they were just fun new alterations. You had the new Overdrive, which wasn't annoying. It would just give you all supplies, and it's the one we're getting in Tanki Classic, so it was a fun Overdrive. You also had new containers during Black Friday, which, oh my gosh, opening those new containers when they first came out was one of the best feelings in Tanki history. You also had the brand new animated paints in the game, which were unheard of at the time because you just had normal paints. But back in 2017, they added all these new animated paints. They were also just super, super hype. I remember spending all my birthday money on those $60 bundles with the animated paints. And although it's kind of expensive, you look at Tanki prices now, it honestly wasn't bad. This year honestly just kept me hooked to the game. All the new updates, they were super fun, and that's why it's going in 4th place. So 3rd place is going to 2016. This was the year I started playing Tanki basically as my main game. Before that, I would play Xbox and the Wii a lot, but I didn't really play too many games apart from like browser games. Towards the first half of the year, the Tanki World Cup event came out and I actually won. I bought the German paint and they won, so that made me super excited to play. And then during Halloween and Christmas, those events were probably the best Christmas and Halloween events we've had ever, honestly. I remember Christmas event came out. You had the brand new Striker turret. That was probably the most I've played for a Christmas event in Tanki history. And then the Halloween event in 2016, I loved that event so much, I started my YouTube channel just so I could upload Halloween gameplay for Tanki Online. Because I loved the experience of playing Tanki Halloween, and I honestly just wanted to share it. I love playing it so much, and I started my YouTube channel because of how much I loved Tanki Halloween during that year. Overall, this year was awesome. It was so good. I created a YouTube channel in November. Now, 2nd place, going to 2022. Now, hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. I know a lot of people dislike current Tanki, and 2022 is definitely a part of current Tanki, but the second half of this year made me enjoy this year just so much. Tanki brought back the Halloween minigame, which was by far the best part of 2021, and I started uploading daily videos around late September. So me uploading daily videos is the main reason I loved this year, because every single day I would look for new content to make. Sure, I made a lot of augment videos, but there was still a lot of content to make, like different combos, overdrives, events, different games I hosted. With me doing daily uploads and looking for new content every single day, for some reason it just made me love playing the game at this time. Even though it was only like 4 months that I did daily uploads, and everything before that I wasn't playing too much, the last 4 months of the year made me enjoy this year just so much. Now, if we're ranking the whole year, it would probably be more towards like the 6th or 7th spot. But every time I look back on this year, all I think about is those last 4 months of the year where I uploaded daily. And that's why it's going in the number 2 spot. And I know you guys can criticize me for that, and I'm probably wrong overall because I'm mainly just thinking of the last 4 months. But it was such a fun year because of the daily video grind. So my favorite year in all of Tanki Online, and I think a lot of people might agree with this, or at least around this time, it's 2018. So this was the peak of Tanki enjoyment for me. You had the brand new war events with containers as rewards, and containers were still awesome at the time because they were basically brand new. You had the new addition of drones, which weren't super OP at the time. They started adding more later, but the initial drones they added in the game were relatively balanced and super fun. Tanki started releasing XT skins in the shop for like $50 to $100, and of course my degenerate kid self bought these bundles because I didn't really spend money on anything else at the time. You also had the brand new Star Weeks, which were introduced before the challenges pass, where you get a brand new animated paint for 700 stars if you grind it out that week. And then probably the most enjoyable thing Tanki's ever done is for Halloween, they added a new Star Week, and for getting 700 stars, or maybe 1100, I think it was 700 for the animated paint, but like 900 for the free demonic skin for Firebird. Since when has Tanki ever released a free skin, apart from the HD skins, which aren't really free skins, they're just updated skins? But you could get a free demonic skin for Firebird, a brand new skin line that we hadn't seen for like years, if you grinded out stars. That was just so much fun. Not to mention, you could do daily missions for gold boxes to drop, which was also unheard of. I remember staying up so late every single night for that Halloween event, just grinding out stars because of how badly I wanted that fire demonic skin. Not to mention, the Halloween event during this year was insanely fun. Overall, this year was just incredible. There weren't any annoying updates. This was before the annoying overdrives came into the game in 2019. You still had the fun star overdrive, and overall, I was still playing with all my friends at this time, and it was just such a fun year. But yeah, that's my ranking of every single year in Tanki Online from 2011 to 2024. All the way from the lows of 2020's HTML transition to the super fun events just like 2 to 3 years prior than that. And let me know your favorite year in Tanki Online in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Also, don't forget to use code Taspens if you're going to buy anything in Tanki Online. And let me know what you think about this video. I'll see you in the future. Peace out, everybody.